Hey, what is up, Mortals? It is Diana here, and before we get into today's video, there's something I'd like to say. I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time. So if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, if this video hits 300 likes by the end of the week, we will continue this what if. Thirdly, if you didn't know, only 43.5% of you guys are subscribed to us. So please hit that subscribe button and click that bell icon. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the story. Izuku sat, waiting to be questioned by the officers. He was nervous, but not surprised. It made sense why they felt the need to question him. He knew the villain. He didn't know if they knew much past that, but he knew that fact alone could be incriminating. He took a deep breath. He had no part in the murders, and had no way to stop them. So why was he worried? Despite his rationalizing, he still found himself nearly shaking from nerves. After what felt like eternity, Tsukauchi came into the hospital room with a friendly smile. Don't worry, you're not in any serious trouble. We do, however, have to ask you about the nature of your relationship with the hero killer, Tsukauchi explained in a calm voice. First, how long have you known the hero killer? He asked. We met when I was in middle school. He helped me after I was targeted by some bullies. He offered to train me, and I accepted. He said he could help me be a hero, and that was all I had ever wanted, Izuku answered honestly. He had no reason to lie. It would just dig him into a deeper hole. Did he ever share his plans to kill heroes with you? The detective asked. No, I don't think he had thought to do so until recently. He always had very firm beliefs, but he never talked about taking it that far, Izuku responded. Great. Just one more question and then you should be good to go. Are you in any way in still contact with the hero killer? Tsukauchi asked. No, Izuku said calmly. He didn't want to lie, but he knew if he was honest, they would use him to track down his mentor. He was aware that the things Stain had done wrong. However, he also saw that something in the man had changed during their fight. Stain's ideals weren't wrong in the slightest. They were just dangerous when taken to extremes. He could do great things if he had changed his approach, but he wouldn't get that chance if he was rotting in the prison cell. He knew Tsukaichi could tell something was off, but he didn't question any further. He instead sent Izuku on his way, telling him to be more careful in the future. When Izuku returned to school, he was met with the news that it was time for the final exams. In all honesty, Izuku had forgotten. It had been a chaotic first term, and his recent run-in with Stain had made him forget about his upcoming exams. It seemed he was not the only one. He knew he would be fine, as he had still been studying regularly throughout the term. He had ranked 4th in midterm, so as long as he studied adamantly throughout the week, he would be okay. His classmates did not seem to share his feelings of calmness. Many of his classmates ended up forming a study group with Yaoyorozu. That week, the whole class studied harder than they thought they could. By the time the written portion of the exam came, everyone seemed much more relaxed than they had the previous week. The test was difficult, but Izuku hadn't expected any less. The exam days seemed to fly by. He felt fairly confident when he turned in his test. He breathed a sigh of relief. Now all that was left was the physical portion of the exam. He heard from a fellow student that the exam this year would be similar to the entrance exam, consisting of fighting giant robots, simulating villains. This eased Izuku's nerves. He did fairly well in the entrance exam, scoring 2nd overall, so this would not be much of an issue. He came to school that day feeling prepared, but that feeling quickly faded when he saw a group of UA teachers standing to greet them. Before we get back into the story, I would like to say that we got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes over the hard facts of anime presented. If you're interested in content like this, please go check the description below or click the icon in the top right corner. Now with that out of the way, let's go back into the story. His whole class seemed confused. Finally, Jiro spoke up, asking about the teacher's presence. Principal Netsu appeared and began to explain the situation to them. They were told that due to recent events, the test had been changed. It had been modified to include teamwork and fighting against real people as opposed to mindless robots. Although it did ruin Izuku's strategy, he completely understood why it was necessary. They had been faced with real villains and came out alive. They had shown they were capable of handling themselves, so facing robots would not be a challenge. They needed to face real danger. If that meant facing against pro heroes, so be it. They were told that they would be in teams of 2 that were assigned to a specific hero. That first team would be Yaoyorozu and Todoroki against Aizawa. The next team announced was Bakugo and himself facing All Might. He was hit with a ball of nerves. He thought he would be prepared for whatever he was faced with, But this would be near impossible. He would need to work out a strategy, and there was no way Bakugo would be willing to listen to him. Even without that, he was facing the #1 hero. They may have the same quirk, but All Might had years of experience with it. He knew there had to be a way to win, but seemed far out of his reach. As he had expected, Bakugo refused to formulate a plan with him. He ultimately decided to watch the other matches. If he couldn't strategize with his partner, he could at least pull ideas from others. He knew the teachers would not be using their full power, but All Might was still All Might. He knew how to use his power, even when disadvantaged. And he knew Izuku. He had seen him fight, and knew how he used One for All. He realized these matches were made to target students' weaknesses, and in order to win, they would have to acknowledge and account for these weaknesses. His classmates all did very well, with only a few failing the exam, and even then, they didn't fail spectacularly. Soon enough, it was his turn. He got prepared and headed to the exam site. Bakugo paid him no mind and kept walking forward, anger in his eyes. Izuku knew he wouldn't be able to pass if they went on like this. He had to say something. Kachan, listen. For this exam, the teacher is the villain and we're the heroes, so we need a solid plan. Normally, I'd suggest we'd analyze the villain's combat ability and choose to fight them or run away based on that. But in this case, the villain is All Might, so we don't need to think about it since combat is out of the option. It would be impossible to beat him in a fight, Izuku explained calmly. He knew what they needed to do. He just had to show Bakugo that as well. Stop following me, Bakugo snapped. Izuku knew that he wasn't going to get anywhere if he just tried to keep explaining. He had to explain it to Bakugo in a way he'd understand. Look, I know you want to be the best, but sacrificing your future over petty grudge isn't going to do anything. Real heroes don't care about themselves. They can't. They care about saving others. They know that's what matters. If you keep pushing others away and refusing to accept help from others, innocent people are going to get hurt. You can't be a hero for yourself. You have to be willing to sacrifice things to help others. That includes your pride. Plus, if you don't work with me, we're both going to fail, and we'll be that much further from being heroes. Is that what you want? Izuku said with a passion. He had to say something. He couldn't let Bakugo keep acting like this. If he did, there would be even more corruption in hero society. Izuku couldn't risk that. He had to say something, even if it meant pissing off Bakugo. You have no idea what you're talking about, Bakugo responded, venom in his voice. I do. You have spent your entire life putting others down because they aren't as strong as you. What kind of a hero would do that? Heroes are supposed to build others up, give them hope and comfort. All that you do is tear others down to build your ego. That doesn't sound like a hero to me, Kachan, Izuku explained. The students in 1A were shaken by his words. None of them had ever seen Midoriyas do anything like that, especially not to Bakugo. They all thought deeply about what they said. They all knew Bakugo would never be a traditional hero, but they'd be lying if they said they had truly thought about the danger his actions could cause. All four of them pondered what Izuku had said. Ida especially took it to heart. He had been so focused on revenge before that he lost sight of everything it meant to be a hero. He hadn't thought about how his actions would affect others, and because of this, his friends had been injured. Uraraka was also touched by his words. She had always known Izuku had a great goal and always strived to help others, but she hadn't truly seen how strongly he felt about saving others until then. Bakugo looked back at Izuku, the anger in his face melting, if only slightly. He would never admit it, but the nerd's words were right. He had to listen to him. His future depended on it. If he failed this, because he was reckless, he would be looked down on. He already made a reputation for himself for being driven by anger and anger alone at the sports festival. No one was going to look up to a hero that couldn't save people because of his own damn ego. He took a breath, looked at the floor, and finally said, "Fine, what do we have to do?" Izuku lit up at the question. He honestly didn't know if the blonde would listen to him. He had looked down on him all of his life, showing no sign of caring about anything that Izuku said or believed. That thought that he got through to him, if only a small amount, was enough to give Izuku hope. It also meant that he had a chance to pass the exam. He began explaining the plan to Bakugo. Since only one of us has to make it to the exit, I think you should distract him. Make sure he doesn't realize that I'm gone. Or at the very least, make sure he can't get to me. If he ends up catching me, I need you to get to the exit as fast as possible, Izuku explained. Bakugo reluctantly nodded. Soon enough, All Might appeared before them. You distract him. I'll try to find a way to sneak up on him, Izuku said. He tried to be quiet enough that it would seem like a whisper, but loud enough that All Might would hear them. He then ran to the side, hoping to hide the fact his ultimate goal was the exit. He was banking on the fact All Might would know Bakugo would never want to win by running from a battle, even if it was someone else doing it. Even if it didn't work, Izuku hoped he could at least buy Bakugo some time to escape if necessary. He began running towards the exit. Sure enough, he heard a series of explosions behind him. He just needed time. It didn't take long before the exit was within his reach. But right as he felt he was safe, he heard laughing behind him. Did you really think I would fall for such trick? Have to admit, it was smart, but I know you would never try to fight me. Izuku tried his best not to panic. As long as Bakugo made it out safely, he would be okay. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now, there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. On the behalf of We Are the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer for this video, as well as the editor for this video. Their details will be in the description below. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have an amazing day.